Nothing changes instantaneously. In a gradually heating bathtub, you'd be boiled to death before you knew it. Our Father, who art in heaven. Seriously? What the actual fuck?
Gilead doesn't care about children. Gilead cares about power.
Why does healing have to be the only goal? Why can't we be as furious as we feel?
For whatever man sows, so shall he reap.
Welcome to Above the Garage. Hi, friends. Today we've got a fantastic conversation with Mary Arthurs, props master for The Handmaid's Tale. And just to quickly also tell you what's in the pipeline next, come back on Thursday for our interview with Amanda Brugel, who of course plays one of our very favorite characters, Rita Blue. Next week we'll have John McGillivray, master of special effects. And then on Thursday we'll be releasing our interview with Josh Charles. Being that we are avoiding spoilers, we didn't go into detail on his new character in The Handmaid's Tale, but I can assure you you'll want to hear this interview anyway. It was easily our most off-the-rails interview to date, and such fun, even if we couldn't talk as much Handmaid's Tale. But first, we have Mary Arthurs, who we learned so much about Handmaid's Tale's props from. One heads up about this interview, throughout our 12 or so on-set interviews, I always set up my phone as a backup recording in case anything went wrong with our equipment. And this is the only interview where it was necessary to use that backup phone recording for the first 10 minutes or so. So you'll notice a difference in quality in the middle, but hopefully both versions are easy to understand. All right, here's Mary. Hello, Mary.
Hello.
I've already said this to you today, but I really love your Instagram handle.
Thank you.
Mary Proppins.
Mary Proppins.
Was it like the easiest handle to come up with?
Actually, like 30 years ago, I was on a very independent movie and a grip walked up to me and put a piece of pink tape down my arm and wrote Mary Proppins. It's rather cute.
Cool. So Mary Proppins was born. It's so clever.
So you've been doing props forever then?
For 30 years.
Wow. How did you get into that?
I started in theater and I went to University of Toronto and I was going to be a lawyer and lots of family stuff happened and I was sort of drifting and a friend had a theater production and needed a props person. And so that's how I fell into it. And then I became an extra in film just to sort of see what people did. Yeah. And then a production manager gave me a break and said, do you want to be a props master on a Kirstie Alley movie of the week?
Oh really?
Oh, that's awesome.
Was she nice?
Lovely.
Yeah.
I used to love Kirstie Alley, Veronica's Closet, all those sort of shows.
I forgot that existed.
Yeah. I don't know how that came into my brain 3 years later.
Interesting. So for Handmaids, you were here from season 1?
No, I wasn't. I came on in season 4.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, because there was a props master for season 1 and then another person for 2 and 3. And then he unfortunately passed away.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, Tori Bellingham. He was a really great man.
That's heartbreaking. Yeah.
And so John Weber, I had worked with John before, and so he called me and he said, this is a very delicate situation. Yeah. Would you like to come
stepping into the locker?
And I said, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you know him? Is there like a props union that you guys all know each other?
Yeah, I mean,
I would assume.
All a member of the union, but we all sort of know each other, but then don't get to work together.
Right.
Because we're all doing the same job.
Yeah.
But that is actually changing now because there's a thing called the Property Masters Guild. It was just formed in Los Angeles a couple of years ago. And so now we're all internationally talking to one another.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is cool.
I like the name too.
Yeah, the PMG.
Property Masters.
Okay. All right, so season 4 you came in. That's like the worst season, I think, probably to come into anything because of COVID. And that was season 4, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we prepped. And then I think we shot a week or 2 weeks. Yeah. And then March 14th happened. And we're like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
See you later.
And came back, how much longer was it? I don't even know how.
We came back in September, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right after vaccines, right? Is that when it was waiting for?
But the thing about Handmaids was that like Kim and John and everybody, they just wanted our input on like, how do we get back to work? And so we had a lot of Zoom meetings as far as like them updating us and asking for our input. And it was really sort of a very sort of collaborative way of like, let's get back to work and how are we
If you're going to work on a show during COVID, it's the show to work on.
yeah, for sure.
So how do you source everything? I'm guessing you have somewhere where you store a lot of stuff, right? From previous things, or
Well, there's a very large lockup that belongs to Handmaid.
Right.
So it had 3 seasons,
Yeah.
3 seasons worth of stuff. And then it's really basically, it comes out of the script. So whatever the script calls for, I buy it, I rent it, I make it, I find it on the side of the street,
Wow.
borrow it, just however it comes into being. I'll go to the ends of the earth to find it.
That sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah. I mean, all these jobs sound really
Yeah.
fun. There's so many cool jobs involved in the show. How much ahead of time do you get the script so that you can start thinking, procuring goods?
Well, it depends on the writers.
Yeah.
On this show, well, for this season, for season 6, I got the scripts. I mean, I was sort of like, let me have the scripts. They sent them to me when I started working. I think I had 8 weeks of prep
Okay.
for this season, but I think I had 8 scripts out of the 10, which was fantastic. So I was able to read through all of it and then start thinking about how to strategize, what needed more prep
Time to get, make, whatever,
it's
right.
like flag this, that it's going to take months to get, or we really have to jump on this now and get decisions made. So it totally depends on the project as far as like if the scripts are ready. So I've had shows where basically sort of the continuity guy and I are not the show, but we're like writing, figuring out the props because the scripts are not ready, so.
Do you have a big team that you work with?
I do. I have 4 people on the floor. So a props key, a second assistant, third assistant, fourth assistant. And then I have 2 props buyers. Season 5, I had 1 props buyer, but he wasn't available. So I have 2 this season. And so that's a great sort of support.
Do they do this online or are they going to like auctions? What does a props buyer do? How does it work?
They basically just do the same thing that I would do.
Right.
We sit together and I give them lists, basically.
Yeah.
And I just say, okay, you go and get this, source that. We just sort of, it's always a conversation. And so they'll just buy, rent, borrow, find.
Whatever.
Steal. Not really. But
I'm thinking of that show, American Pickers. You know, that show where they find all that awesome stuff? Yeah, this job sounds really fun.
Yeah, it's really satisfying when you get the right object.
Yeah.
Right for the scene or the right object for the actor. Because props help build character as well as, what they're wearing and how their hair looks and what they're saying. So I do like eyewear and I do watches and I do wedding rings.
Oh, okay.
And food and guns and wedding cakes and...
We saw that macaron tower.
Yes, the macaron tower.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a signature.
Yeah. And is it edible?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. I mean, we put it on a styrofoam floor.
Yeah.
And they're all like attached. But I have an amazing chef that I use for food styling.
And wedding cakes. They do that too.
Yeah. And Naomi's wedding cake
Yeah.
is in the props lockup in the fridge.
Oh, really?
Because we did it on styrofoam because nobody was cutting into it. Or anything like that.
No, they didn't get to that.
No. And so I use him when there's like actors are actually eating, where we have to do like poached eggs, resets and all of that sort of thing. But I also do my own food styling. Like over the past 3 days, I've had a food scene first up every day. So I'm there at like
Do you have to get in at the crack of dawn?
crack of dawn. I'm there like if it's a 7 a.m. call, I'm there at 5:30.
Really?
Just doing
The food prep?
the food prep for it.
Who'd have thought that was part of your job? That's so funny.
Yeah, no, and I really do enjoy food styling.
Yeah.
A lot of props masters
Probably don't. Yeah.
but I enjoy it. I hate laptops and cell phones. It's like so boring. But I love the creative aspect of that.
That's really fun. Food-wise, the thing that sticks out in the recent seasons was the poison truffle.
Right.
That was a you thing, right?
Yeah, that was me.
And like the blood was raspberry filling or something.
Yeah, it was a raspberry syrup that my chef made. And he basically made the whole thing. And I believe they're vegan because I think Maddie is vegan. And we had to sort of work out how are we going to do it and the amount of blood in them. So basically we hid the blood inside the truffle in order for her to at a particular point
So smart.
bite down on it and then it would,
It looked perfect on screen, and I had I would never have thought it was actually
I
a
think
truffle.
I think we've asked this before, but how many takes did you have to do of that?
I don't really remember how many they did. I mean, I was ready for
I'm
like
sure there were many poison
30
truffles
40
prepared.
takes,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
yeah, absolutely. I always try and have more than we need, and then the crew goes home with.
Yeah, I was just about to say, does the crew get all the food? Yeah.
That's a nice perk. Not food-wise, the most striking prop would be Waterford's funeral drape, I guess.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. How did...
Elizabeth designed it. Elizabeth, production designer, designed the design of it. And then it was like, okay, what are we going to make it out of? So we definitely wanted velvet. And then we wanted it to be embroidered. So I contacted a company in India who has been in business since 1945 called Rangersons. And they do military embroidery. Like they're just the best embroiderers in the world, basically. That was one of the things where it's like, okay, this plays in, I don't remember, March or February or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we knew that the red of it had to be very specific. So I went to a velvet supplier in Mississauga outside of Toronto, and I got Elizabeth to pick the red. So I got a big bolt of that. But we knew black velvet is black velvet. So that was sourced in India by the company. So on Christmas Eve day, I went to the FedEx with a big bolt of red velvet, in order to get it there
Wow.
on Christmas break, in order for them to have all of January to make it. And we were just like crossing your fingers.
Yeah.
You know, but they are so like, they make these sort of things all the time.
Right.
So it was just
You know that it's...
very clear communication. It was me getting up at, I think, maybe 2 a.m. to phone them at one stage because of the time difference. We had done everything by email, but I always like to double check by having a conversation. And then they made them and they sent me pictures of their, you know, everybody sort of holding them up, and they looked amazing. And
Did they send you a couple, or how many?
I had 2 of everything made.
Yeah.
There were some banners that were made as well, but we didn't end up using them. So 2 of everything. And then they put it in a FedEx and it came to Toronto.
That's wild. Through India.
Was that one of the hardest ones you had to do, or
I wouldn't say the hardest. It was just sort of very
the long process?
long process, yeah. But I mean, I've done builds, like it's considered a build in props sort of parlance. And so basically it was it's just a matter of like, get a design approved, have your person who's going to make it, have clear communication, have enough time to do it, and then just, you know, trust
that. Yeah.
And I always give a false deadline.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
just,
smart.
I do that to my mother-in-law too.
Yeah.
Very late to things.
so, you know, it's a good way to work because then you're not panicking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite prop that you've created for the show?
I mean,
Stands out.
I do love the funeral.
Yeah.
I think it's just beautiful. And I love doing the food. Just when I get to do like decorative things that are beautiful and decorative, that's sort of the stuff that I love the most.
Do you also have to do like the coffin and I don't know,
Yep.
things like that?
Yeah,
Is that
we
you?
did. Actually, we built the coffin as
You
well.
built the coffin.
Yeah. Oh, and I also did all the horse tack as well. So we had that made. We had that made locally, but I went shopping at my favorite drapery fabric supplier, and we started with like a horse saddle blanket, and got all the bits and pieces together and had that made as well. So, but yeah, we had the coffin made because it had to be light because these guys are going to be carrying it.
Right.
And so we rented a coffin. Then our wonderful mold shop here on site molded it. And between the mold shop and the carps, they made it. And then the paint guys painted it a like very shiny black.
I like how it goes through so many different like departments to get completed.
Coffin's yours now.
Yeah, well, with the thing with props is that I collaborate with a lot of, like almost every department, depending on what's happening. You know, if somebody's brushing their hair or putting on makeup, it's, you know, I talk to hair and makeup, or the electrics if we're going to be doing something with something that lights up, like a lantern, then, you know, I get it and they put their own bulb in it, so it's controlled by the lighting board.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So it's,
Do you source the cigarettes?
yeah, we buy herbal cigarettes. Yeah.
I just remember the story of Elizabeth teaching McKenna how to smoke through the herbal cigarettes.
Yeah. They're rank.
Oh,
Just
they-
horrible.
I bet it's
Really
awful.
Yeah, but better than real ones, obviously, and we can't use real ones. So
Right.
yeah.
Did you source the doll that Nick gives to June
Yeah,
for
that doll
Nicole?
is a favorite of fans.
Yeah, I had it made.
Yeah.
Again, designed it, had a sewer make it, and so it's unique.
It's a perfect Gilead doll.
Absolutely.
It does look like a very Gilead doll, doesn't it?
Yeah. I hope they packed it on their way out of town last season.
And do you keep everything? Like literally
Yes.
those things? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who we were talking to, but somebody was like, they should make a museum out of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do with it afterwards?
It depends on what the production wants to do with
Yeah.
it. I did a show last year through the strike and all of that sort of thing, and basically they just took all of the props and had an auction company come in
Yeah, that's smart.
and buy it all, and
Yeah.
then there was an auction.
Yeah.
What show was that?
That was called The Madness for Netflix. It's
Oh,
going to
cool.
be on in November.
Oh, nice.
Something to look
Exciting.
forward to.
Yeah.
It was weird because it spanned all of 2023 because of the actors.
Yeah.
So it totally depends on the show if they
Yeah.
want to keep the things
Yeah.
or they keep certain things that, like, sometimes we ship stuff to Los Angeles and it goes in a warehouse,
right.
never
Yeah.
to be seen again. I know I did the first season of Umbrella Academy, and I just saw that Prop Store auctioned off the first season's props.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So obviously
What
Netflix
is-
did a deal, you know.
Right. There were some props from Umbrella Academy out in the hallway.
I know, yes. One of my 7 prams.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you source that brand?
I made 7 of them.
You made them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they did exist, but they were blue.
Yeah.
So we had to basically go all around Ontario finding the same model of pram. Then we took them to an automotive sprayer and we sprayed them black, and then we sprayed the hoods black, and then they did the,
That's wild.
yeah, so,
It's perfect. It looks perfect.
yeah.
Do you often have to outsource to just like beyond Canada?
I do like to do that.
Yeah.
It depends. I've worked in the Czech Republic, I've worked in South America, so there are artisans that I really enjoy
Yeah.
using. But as far as like getting things, I just, like, the world is my shopping center,
Yeah.
basically. There's one thing for this season, which I can't say what it is, but I'm waiting for it to come in from an international FedEx thing.
You'll let us know afterwards.
If you
I
need
will.
anything from Perth, Australia,
Yeah, I know.
let me
Should've
know
told her,
and I'll
should've
ship
brought
it
it.
over.
Absolutely. It's super cool. I've never been to Australia, so
Oh.
that's on the list of places to travel.
Well, if
to.
you come, let me know.
Thank you.
I can let you know where to go. I'll be your tour guide.
You mentioned guns. There were a lot of guns in season 5. Like, the very first episode is a trunk full of guns.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Nick has a gun later on. Obviously, Canada is not as... It's probably much easier in America. I don't know. Is it awkward, like, to handle the guns here? I assume you have somebody...
We do. There are very strict rules
Yeah.
around guns in Canada versus the United States, but the rules for guns on a movie set are the same across the board, across the world. It's just a matter of well, on a movie set, the rules are enforced the same way. So basically we have mostly airsoft guns. I, as a props master, I do have my gun licenses, not to deal in them, but to take temporary possession of them from the armory of the gun wrangler that we're using.
Right.
Sorry, what's an airsoft gun?
An airsoft gun fires pellets,
Right, okay, yeah.
as opposed to bullets.
Got ya.
But only if you put the compressed gas in the airsoft gun can
Right.
it fire a projectile.
Right.
So there's basically there's rubber guns that are molded off of real guns. There are airsoft guns that are replicas. There are guns that used to be able to be fired, but they are no longer able to be fired. So because they've taken the firing pin out and they've welded the slide. So we use those as well. And then there are guns that are able to fire blanks. So the only guns that I cannot handle are the ones that actually fire blanks. And that's when we bring in an armorer and sometimes the police force and, all of that sort of thing. But since the unfortunate incident on Rust,
Yeah.
productions have not wanted to do any blank fire at all.
Yeah.
And we now bring in gun wranglers to make sure that I mean, it's great to have somebody there if you've got an actor who has never handled a gun before, and just for peace of mind for the crew. But I carry the sort of season's worth of guns on the truck, locked up and locked up and locked up.
Right.
And then we try and use, like if it's a cop with just a gun in his holster, it's a rubber gun.
Why do they ever want to use blanks over an airsoft and then adding the sound in? Just curious.
Just because when you fire a gun, there's a certain feeling and a certain reaction and recoil
that you can't really recreate.
that it's very difficult to sort of act that.
Gotcha.
So the push now is to have the technology to make the slide move and to usually they VFX. Like on the John Wick, it's all VFX, muzzle flash, and also case ejection. So we're sort of moving more toward that, but having the slide move via an electronic method built within the gun.
Yeah, so we're just working on that technology.
Yeah. You know, it depends if it's a really massive gun show, then that's a big discussion with a full-time armorer. But I've done shows with like a lot of guns. And, you know, it's just like in the studio we're firing like 10 M16s and all blanks. And it's just like, oh, get me away.
Give me a cake.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. So, yeah.
Was there ever been something where you almost couldn't source what you needed to be sourced? Like the most challenging thing you've ever had to?
I think that I've usually been able to get something or build it, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever particularly disappointed anybody, and
That means you're good at your job.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of trying to rack my brain as far as that goes. I'm very much a person who likes to be very upfront and prep and just say, you know, this is going to be either very expensive or are you really sure you want that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the nightmare-y thing was I was working on a commercial a long time ago, and there's a lot of attitude sometimes in commercials, and the director was like, I want wicker, and I want this and that, and it was just not, he just wasn't clear. And it was one of those times, and I also did a Foodland Ontario commercial, and the agency were like arranging the cucumbers, you know, and I was just like, cucumber arrangement by committee. I'm stepping away.
Yes. Funny that commercials would be difficult. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're very short prep time.
Yeah.
And a lot of money. So it's like, here's $10,000 in cash. Let's do it in 2 days. Yeah.
My kids like watching the shows. It's like they make fancy cakes look like objects.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then there's a round where you have to decide whether like that's an object or the cake.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be very good at that. Just from your background.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain budget you have to work with, or are you just like, you do?
Yeah, definitely. The first thing that I do when I read the script first is I sort of don't really I read it for story and budget and thinking about where I'm going to source it.
Yeah.
And so I sort of make notes on the script the very first time I read it, and I put little sort of like numbers beside it, and then, you know, oh, this is going to be $1,000, that's going to be $5,000, this is going to be free, you know.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to go to production and say, this is how much I think. I like to put my budgets in quite early and just say, like, this is what I think it's going to cost us. Is this what you have? We have a discussion.
Right.
Basically.
Has there anything that's ever been like scrapped because it's just like, this is going to be way too expensive?
Not on this show, no. I mean, there are sort of sometimes wild thoughts about things.
Yeah.
And then I sort of just, maybe if I can, I wait like a couple of days and see if we're still going to do that.
Yeah.
Or it's sort of, it's usually the builds that cost the amount of, like, because I'm outsourcing to
Shops.
a shop.
Yeah.
Like Walter Klassen's shop or Jason at Backbone or wherever.
Yeah.
And I just sort of, it's sort of like, I know that's going to cost definitely $4,000, definitely $10,000, that sort of thing. So I like to let everybody know early on.
The notes on your scripts must be massive because the scripts themselves don't call out props that often, I imagine.
No, and it's also thinking about all the stuff around.
Right.
And also
Space.
the actors.
Yeah.
There's an actor, and this has happened in the past, it's sort of like, I know it's not written anywhere, but can I just have these little things in my pocket so I can maybe pull something out? Because they're building their character.
Right.
And if they think they've got little scraps of paper in their
They're gonna have
pockets
that,
as they're sort of walking down the hallway. It was a lawyer character in another show. And he was like, I think I'd just pull pull out a random Post-it note,
Right.
you know, and that just really helped him.
Yeah.
And I love that because we were collaborating, and it was really, he felt more comfortable, and that's my
Such
part
an
of my
easy
job.
thing, but yeah.
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 Do you like doing the like watch and jewelry?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Seems like
I'm
a
wearing
fun
2
part.
watches at the moment.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I quite like.
Oh yeah, you have some really nice rings on as well.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, so that's the fun part. Yeah, I went with an actress. I do get product placement on watches depending on the show.
Yeah.
Nice.
So Omega is really great. Cartier was really great. I did do. I wasn't the props master, but I was the like sort of props master match on the first Suicide Squad. And Ben Affleck in the previous show, or Batman or whatever
Batman,
it was. He had a Breguet watch, and that was a $250,000 watch. Oof. And so I had to get it for him for Suicide Squad.
Right.
And I basically went to the warehouse and showed my driver's license, and I walked out of there with a $250,000 watch.
My driver's license doesn't do that much.
And do you have to contact them? Or
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, definitely. And there's lots of back and forth with contracts and
Yeah.
production and lawyers and all of that sort of
That's a
thing.
cool
And so
job.
they give it to you for free?
Yes.
So basically it's just advertising in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's that kind of product placement, and then there's integration where they'll actually pay to have their product
Right,
in the movie.
yeah,
And that's
okay.
way above my pay grade as far as dealing
Right.
goes and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's a
yeah.
pretty good
You
deal.
can
you
always
made, though.
see sometimes, like in shows, where they just linger on something too long. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, ooh, that's a Rolex, or
Yeah.
you know, something like that.
Yeah. Rolex does not do product placement.
Oh, they don't.
No, they don't.
Oh.
But Omega does, Hamilton does, Cartier does. I took an actress to Cartier in Toronto, Virginia Madsen actually. She and I went to Cartier, and they had a selection of diamond encrusted watches.
Wow.
And she picked the one she liked, and
What a fun field trip.
That
It
is
was so
fun. Yeah. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it was really great.
Do you ever talk to Leslie about that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, with every costume designer I work with, there's always a collaboration because I want my prop to be right for the actor, right for the basic ambiance of everything, and right for the character. So if I do a purse or a backpack or a briefcase.
Also, you also do like bags and...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do like cop vests, tactical gear for a SWAT guy.
Yeah.
She'll do the pants and the shoes and the shirt and the gloves, and I'll do everything
Do the
else
rest.
that's on the guy.
That's
so
cool.
yeah, so it's really great when you work with a costume designer who's very collaborative and understands and respects what you do.
Right.
Sometimes there are some who are a little sort of, it's all personalities and just have to sort of work together
Right.
because we're all doing the same thing. The same end goal is to
Yeah.
make it look not necessarily beautiful, but appropriate for
Right.
what the
character.
writers have
Yeah.
written. So yeah, it's
Well,
fun.
I almost want to be a props master now. It sounds like such a fun job. I swear, like, I feel like every person we interview, like afterwards, I'm like, Kate,
Yeah, I wonder what job
I want
you'd
that
actually
job.
pick. It is a very, very cool job.
Yeah, I know it's been a wild ride, and I've gotten to travel, and I've gotten to do things that other people don't get to do. And I think growing up I loved objects, and I grew up around a lot of antiques, so I just have this sort of reverence for things. And so putting the right thing with the right character is very satisfying. And getting up at 2 a.m. is the horrible part of it.
It looks amazing on screen, so
Yeah.
it's worth it.
incredible.
Well, thank you for coming out to chat with us.
Okay.
We would love to talk to you after season 6
Yeah,
airs.
we would love to talk to you
Find out the
about-
mystery item coming from, where was it?
I'm not saying.
Oh, you can't say where it's
It's not on this continent,
Okay.
basically. Yes. So,
We'll guess at it during the season.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we should try and guess.
Yeah, well, it's been lovely to talk to you guys,
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm
lovely
so
to meet you
it's-
after seeing you on Instagram.
Oh, thank you. It's so wonderful that you guys are interested in the show, and yeah.
Such a good show. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, keep. We love when you post all the details. Like
Yeah.
during season 5, you posted a lot of.
Yeah, well, just after it airs, then I'm free to post things.
It's so fascinating.
I just have to remember to take pictures of stuff.
Yeah,
because
I know, right?
I'm just moving so quickly.
Right.
Like, okay, that's done. Next thing, next thing, next
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, I have to get better at taking photos.
And before you can post them too, they'd go way up in your gallery. You know what I mean? Like you'd have so many photos. Like
photos on my phone. I give up.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I'll be able to post stuff from the show I worked on last year after November 25th. So
we'll look out for that in the
Okay.
meantime.
Awesome, thanks.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for
Thank you.
No problem.
Bye.
Bye.